All right, settle in, people. Grab your coffee. I know I've got mine. For the newbies, I'm Dr. Wolf. Welcome aboard. The rest of you know the drill. Now, today's briefing, well, it's a heavy one. We're going to be pulling back the curtain on Overwatch Command itself. What you're about to hear is the story of the Caesar incident. Think of it as a cautionary tale. It's about what happens when the very people in charge of containing the universe's horrors start seeing monsters staring back at them in the mirror. Okay, let's get into it.
This right here, this single belief, coming from the mouth of the former 051, was the spark that ignited the single biggest disaster in the history of the Foundation. Now, he wasn't talking about some Keter-class monster getting loose. No, he was talking about his own colleagues, the other 12 members of the 05 Council. And that conviction? It led to an act so extreme, it basically wiped the entire slate clean.
So our story kicks off in the Ashes, the old Site-01, the most secure place on the planet, the absolute heart of Overwatch Command, was just gone, utterly destroyed. And with it, the entire 05 Council. The 13 most powerful people in the world, all dead. Well, all except for one.
The lone survivor was 0513. In the absolute chaos that followed, a new council was thrown together. And what was their very first order of business? They took their only predecessor, the only link they had to the old guard, and they designated him SCP-001. His containment became their #1 priority, and their primary mission was to answer one simple question. Did he do it?
You have to understand, this new council was flying completely blind. I mean, just imagine it for a second. You get promoted to the highest level of command, only to find out your predecessors are all dead, your main office is a radioactive crater, and the only guy left is your prime suspect. They had 0 records, no witnesses, and an unbelievable amount of pressure to solve a completely impossible mystery. They were literally chasing ghosts.
So, how do you even begin to investigate something that seems to have been erased from memory itself? Well, you fight fire with fire. The Council came up with a new role, the Archivist. This 05 would be pumped full of mnestics. Those drugs that boost your memory and fight off anti-memetic effects. Their whole job was to remember what the world was forced to forget and to write down every single detail to try and salvage our institutional memory. A crazy, dangerous, mind-shredding job, but it was really their only shot.
And listen, this was not a permanent gig. The mental strain from constant mnemestic use is, well, it's immense. So the archivist position had to be rotated every 4 months. It was just this brutal, grinding cycle. Get on the drugs, log everything you can pull out of the informational static, assess the containment of your own colleague, update his file, and then pass the torch before your brain melts.
But even with the Archivist, the investigation was just one dead end after another. Any personnel who might have survived, memories completely wiped, and with injectable amnestics, which, by the way, screams GOC. Site-01 itself, a radioactive hole, thanks to its own on-site nuke. That's the final failsafe for a place where a breach could literally rewrite reality. And get this, who authorized the Global Occult Coalition to lock down the area? You guessed it, 0513. Every single clue was a dead end that looped right back to him.
And here is a core lesson for every single one of you. Pay attention. The investigation stalled for a reason that is baked right into the DNA of Overwatch Command. You can't really investigate an 05 member. Their entire existence is shielded by a fortress of deliberate disinformation. It's a security policy designed to make verifying anything about them next to impossible.
This slide is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Just look at the official dossier for 052. Is she an 80-plus-year-old woman, an alternate Dr. Light called the Gardener, or is he a 50-plus-year-old man, a different alternate Dr. Light called the Way? Both of these are in the official files. And no, that's not a mistake, it's a feature. This wall of lies is a counterintelligence protocol. It means nobody, not even other 05s, can ever be 100% sure who they're really dealing with.
Which brings us to the biggest irony of all. While every other 05 file is this chaotic mess of contradictions, the file on their #1 suspect, SCP-001, was perfectly normal. Every single test, every observation came back baseline human. No weird energy readings, no strange Hume levels, nothing. And in the world of Overwatch Command, let me tell you, being completely and verifiably normal is just about the most anomalous thing you can be. It was unbelievably suspicious.
So this complete lack of progress, combined with all these layers of secrecy, It really started to get to the new council. Paranoia started creeping in. They started fighting with each other, accusing one another of hiding things, of being compromised. The pressure was cracking their foundation before it ever had a chance to set.
As O5A said right after one particularly nasty argument, they were becoming a house divided. The trust you absolutely need to run an organization like this was just evaporating. They started to get this feeling that it wasn't just O513 stonewalling them. They felt like they were being actively blocked by a power that was even higher up than they were.
Their paranoia found new places to latch on. They tried to install more cameras to watch O513, and the request was denied by the Ethics Committee, citing it was above their security clearance. I mean, think about that. Above an O5's clearance? The only power that could possibly do that is the administrator. Suddenly, they weren't investigators anymore. They were just pawns in a game they couldn't even begin to understand.
And then, right as the council was about to completely break apart, the whole game changed. A single communication from the most secure channel that exists in the Foundation blew the entire case wide open. The administrator, a figure who's more myth than person really, broke years of total silence. But here's the kicker. The message wasn't for the council. It was addressed to the man they were all investigating, O513. And there it is, our gambit. The entire investigation, the SCP-001 designation, the suspicion, all of it, it was a test. A test orchestrated by the administrator and O513 to see if this new council was actually ready for the horrifying truth of what happened to the old one. And attached to that message was the very evidence they've been hunting for this whole time. The evidence was a single audio log. It was recovered from a hardened backup system just moments before Site-01 went up in a mushroom cloud. And on it were the final minutes of the last meeting of the original O5 Council.
And we're back to where we started, that same quote. But now, with context, you see the whole terrifying picture. The former O51 wasn't just being paranoid. He was convinced. He truly believed his fellow council members, with all their life-extending procedures and anomalous tweaks, had become the very monsters they were supposed to be containing. He saw them as a Keter-class threat sitting at the very heart of the Foundation.
So what about O513, the man everyone suspected? He wasn't the target at all. He was the exception. O51 spared him, sent him away on some bogus mission, specifically because he believed O513 was the only one of them left who was still baseline human. He was the only one O51 didn't think he needed to contain. And with that, O51 initiated his own final horrific containment procedure. He didn't die in the Caesar incident. He was the Caesar incident. In his own mind, he was purging the Foundation of its deepest, most dangerous infection, and he used Site-01's own nuclear failsafe to do it. A clean slate bought at a truly unthinkable price.
So, why did I just walk you all through that horror story? Because this incident, it reveals the fundamental paradox at the very core of our mission, and it is, without a doubt, the most important lesson you will ever learn inside these walls.
The entire thing was a trial by fire. Could the new council navigate the intentional lies, the paranoia, the walls of secrecy that we build to protect ourselves, and find a truth that the system is literally designed to hide? See, the Foundation's greatest defense, our absolute, total secrecy, is also our greatest vulnerability. It creates the exact kind of suspicion that can rot this entire organization from the inside out. And that leaves all of you with the question I want you to carry with you from this day on. We secure, we contain, we protect. We build walls around reality to keep the monsters at bay. But who's watching us? Who contains our own paranoia? Who contains the people at the very top of the food chain? Always remember the Caesar incident. And remember that sometimes the most dangerous containment breach of all is the one that starts right here in a room just like this, with a single, terrible idea. Dismissed.